Hey ladies and gents, this is Linda, Thepiecebypiece, and today I'm coming at you with my very first design team project for the Piece by Piece. Yay! Now this project will be hosted by the lovely products that Beverly carries in her store, and as predicted, did you think I might say yes, her link to the Etsy store will be down below in the description box. The link to the blog will be down below, as well as the link to my blog. So if you want to look at some, closer up pictures of the product, and if you want to become a follower, which I would most appreciate, please don't hesitate to push the follow me button. So this is also my first ever Halloween project. I don't usually create for Halloween because the area that we live in, there's not, every other year we might get like 5 kids come to the door, and then on the odd years we get nothing. So I don't really have occasion to decorate. But I think Halloween some of it is cute. I don't really prefer the scary slashy up Halloween stuff. Like the slash movies and stuff. But the cute stuff. But you wouldn't think that from looking at my project. My project is very grungy. This is a step away from what I normally do. It's blacks and kind of an orange-brown look. Lots of, texture and, dripping of Lindy's Stamp Gang products. There's sprays dripping it down the project, all that sort of stuff. So you're really wondering what I'm going to show you, aren't you? So I'm going to move my sign out of the way so we can get started. And you're also going to be thinking, sweet little old Linda made this. I sure did, and it's spooky. All right, I'm going to get my sign out of the way so we can get started. Sorry, I wanted to curtail that little phone call. Okay, the products I used, the paper line I used for this was Tim Holtz paper line. I used a sheet or two of Canvas Core paper line, a sheet from Creative Imaginations. I used some Graphic 45 Reflections paper. And that's it. That's my paper lines. You guys know how I like to mix and match. Okay, so here comes my project. It's going to be a little hard to see, obviously, because it's very big. So I'm bringing it in, trying to get it all in camera view. What I might do is take my camera off here for a minute if I need to. So let me kind of do a little bit of movement around on my camera. You can kind of get a look-see. So there's that. It's, as you can see, it is a 3-piece wall decor unit. And the middle piece is a mirror that I got at Dollar Tree. And the left piece is was a blank wooden frame I got at Michael's, one of those dollar frames. And then the right piece is a wooden heart that I also purchased from Walmart for like, 97 cents. Okay, gosh, where to start? Okay, so the quote on this, starting from the left side, goes up to the middle, and then down to the right side, says, if you are reading this, then you are blissfully unaware of what is creeping up behind you. I know, right? It's cute. I got that off Pinterest. I just thought it was so cute because as you're looking at all the pretties and, something creepy is creeping up behind you. Okay, so let's start on the left side over here. And as I go along and show you what I've done, obviously I will point out product from Beverly's store. Now, also, this is grungy. And it talks about, something creeping up behind you, but it's also got a love story of sorts to it. So on the left side starts off, let me bring it up a little closer so you can see. We'll just kind of start off this way first and give you kind of a bird's eye peek at this left side. You can see Mr. Skeleton Man there, holding a shovel. I know, right? It's creepy. I know, and it's grungy, huh? I actually had a lot of fun doing this. I'm going to be giving this to a good friend of mine. So the love story on this left side is the little Mr. Skeleton Man. And, he's got his shovel because, him and his bride have been married for a very long time. And now, of course, it's the afterlife. But he's going to carry a picture of his bride with him. Okay, I know, right? And I was kind of laughing at myself because the chain I used here is a ball chain. I know you're thinking it, right? The skeleton dude is carrying his old ball and chain. I know, what a pun. Not really, because us wives are lovely. All right, so let's start at the top here. I used a lot of this creepy cloth that you get at like Dollar Tree. And, you know, cut it all up and grunged it all on here. Underneath on both my wood products here, I crackled and painted it in like a black. This is some of the Tim Holtz paper, and I sewed all the edges of my papers as I usually do and distressed everything. And all these big chunks of black and stuff you're seeing here is black rub and buff that I've like used for texture. So we'll go down the left edge. On top of this creepy cloth, there is some gorgeous trim here that I've made look all grungy. This trim is from Beverly's shop. It's kind of a brownish trim, and it has actually a little slight, when you hold it up next to orangey brown paper, an orangish brown tint, orange tint to it. So that's what I've done there. I know this is going to be kind of hard to see. So that's down this left side. Now, starting over here, the little skeleton man, I got this from Dollar Tree, just those little plastic skeletons, and I kind of grunged them up with some of the black texture paste. I made copies of some of the Prima wings, and I added wings to him. And then I used black rub and buff paint for the texture on those as well. And when you come down to the side of him, let me try and move some light here a little bit better on him so we get there, so you can see him. It'll be a little bit of a shadow, but that'll make it spookier, right? So you come down to him. He is seated in the corner of this frame. I kind of took this leg and broke it and bent it. You can kind of see it's bent a little more. And then this one stands out straight. So he's seated on the frame. To the left of him is, actually, this is a Prima romance novel clock that I kind of grunged up a little bit. And I added one of those Tim Holtz arrows. Okay. And then from his wrist, I have dangling his wife. At the top of his wife this is a little bottle cap, and I added a Recollections little, one of those clay flowers to it. I think they're like clay resin flowers is what I'm going to say. And love, because, you know, he loved his wife in the real life. Now, this frame and this cameo came from Beverly's shop. They were separate, of course, and I glued the cameo inside. Oops, look, my little, came out of my ring. Oopsie, I'll put it on later. My little rose came off of the little jump ring on here. Anyway, so that came from Beverly's shop, and all I did, they were both black, except the cameo here is this color. I didn't change the color or anything, and I just added, you can see the texture on it, the rub and buff, to that to kind of grunge it up a little bit. Okay, and then up, kind of we'll go back up to the top of the frame a little bit. I have made this first portion of this sign. What I use, let me set this down and show you. And let me grab my little piece that fell off so I don't forget to attach it. I didn't have my jump ring tight enough. I had bought some light bulbs at like Dollar Tree, and you know how the light bulbs come wrapped in kind of that really thin corrugated cardboard? Well, Dollar Tree, their light bulbs come wrapped in a extra thin, cheap corrugated cardboard. And here's a piece of it right here. It is so thin and flexible. So what I did is I just taped it on. I printed off the quote off my computer, and then I taped this over the quote on all the edges and just ran it right through my computer. It's that thin. So it worked great, and I was hoping it would because I wanted it to be kind of corrugated. And then back up to here, the little clip, which are barely there, now you can get a look at it. It's just these clips that I bought at like Michael's and Joann's. We've all seen these. And I just grunged it up with the black rub and buff. So the clip is hanging, you know, the hook inside of all this creepy cloth. And then it's called creepy cloth. That's why I'm calling it that. And then it's clipped onto this. And then I sewed around the edges of the quote, of course. And then it's got kind of black and orange speckles on it, and that is from Lindy's Stamp Gang. The colors I used was the Black Midnight Raven, boy, the tongue twisters, and then the Cocoa Bean Copper, which I thought gave it a little bit, you know, making it look kind of like it could be old, gross, bloody, whatever. Yeah, I know, I did this, sweet little me. And then like the streak running down it, I just took the, you know, I opened the bottle of the Lindy Stamp Gang and took the sprayer portion of it and just touched it and let it run down in areas of that paper. Okay, and then behind it you can just see a little peeky. That's the Graphic 45 Reflections paper. So to the left of our little Mr. Skeleton Man, I placed a great big light bulb and added kind of some rub and buff to it. He is holding an old rusty wooden shovel that I got at a garage sale because I thought it was cute. It was like he's digging up his wife to take with him. I know it all just sounds gory, doesn't it? But pretend. You guys know how I like to do romance. So this is a romantic grungy story, okay? He's digging up his wife. He doesn't want to go anywhere without her. That's love for you, right? And then amidst all of the shovel and everything, I've got Saw Crafters flowers all in through here. These are clay flowers I got in the wedding section at Michael's. And then over in this corner is just a metal ornate photo corner from Wild Orchid Crafts. And then I added, you know, on the flowers, these clay flowers too, rub and buff everywhere. All these little drippings and everything, I did that all with Lindy Stamp Gang. Okay, now to the center. I'm going to bring it down a little bit so you can get a little bit better look. It's got a mirror on it, so I'm going to tip it a little bit because I don't want you to see me. At the very top, and I'm going to turn it around so I can show you, I went through all my cabinet handles and I found this one because I thought it looked so cool. The way, the shape of it, because it looked all kind of goth looking, and all I did was add a little rub and buff to it, and then some of that shimmer you see on there is the cocoa bean copper from the Lindy Stamp Gang, so I thought that looked really cool. And then the texture on this frame, it was just a wooden frame around the mirror, and what I did is I added texture paste to it, just the texture paste from Home Improvement Store, and then I painted it with black metallic paint, and then shimmered it with some of that gold cocoa bean copper Lindy Stamp Gang to give it that kind of look. Okay, and this handle is just glued on, you guys, with that new glue I showed you in my last video, that Loctite glue. And I'll show you, see how it's just glued on to it? Holds, that thing is solid, it's steady, it ain't coming off. And then to the back, I'll just show you real quick, it's all finished off, just with some of the papers that I used. Oh, and over on that left side where the skeleton is, I wrapped kind of that black creepy cloth around the back. And as well as the frame on the mirror, you can see some of the lace coming around on the back. Now, the lace on that, I got, let me show you what I did. I was at Dollar Tree and I bought, it's really big and I'll show you, this great big witch's hat. And I loved the lace on it. You can see how it's all spider webby. So it also had the lace on the hat part itself, so I cut the lace off of there. And that's what I used because I wanted it to have kind of that web look, that spider web look. So that's what I used for there. And I just took it and wrapped it kind of all around through here. I smudged like, you know, rub and buff up here. This part of the quote, I printed it on transparency. And I sewed around the transparency to give it some of that, you know, distress look. Like it needs more distressing, right? And all these droplets and everything, I took Lindy Stamp Gang and I just dripped it down the front of it. I sprayed the front of the mirror too, so it's got spots all over it and drops, little drips. And then to attach, it's curled up in the corner, but to attach the transparency to the mirror, all I did was use a spray adhesive that I just got from Walmart. So as you're coming down the center of the mirror, you're reading the second part of that quote. You've got all the webbing and stuff coming down to the bottom. Here's the bottom portion of that. We're going to start at the bottom. This lace here that you see is from Beverly's shop. It's a real pretty kind of tulle type gathered lacing. And it's kind of a brownish color, and it kind of looks orange against some of that paper. And in this lace, it's a beautiful black. There, you can kind of, let me get up close there. See it? A beautiful black trim I put over the top of that. She's just got some beautiful lace. And then intermixed in there, you see some of the black creepy cloth. And then what I did is I've got more of the Saw Crafters flowers and more of the flowers from Michael's. And I'm going to turn it a little bit. Can you see? I took another skeleton and I broke it up and I put like a hand sticking out here and a foot sticking out there. There, can you see them? like, you know, like Mr. Skeleton Man's like digging up his wife. I know, gross, right? But it's cute at the same time because there's little, you know, pieces. So we got an arm and a leg sticking out right there. I just thought that was fun. And to add to the romance of it, because you guys know I like romance, this is a wooden word that says darling, and I just grungied it all up. Okay, now let me move this out of the way. Let's go over to the right side. Like I said, this is a wooden heart I got at Michael's. Okay, and it already had this like heart cut out right there. So the paper line, again, grunged it up, sewed it up, distressed it, you know, and then I kind of curled it up on the edges. The heart as well as all crackled, black crackled underneath. Then I've got a layer of paper here that I sewed transparency. I printed this again from my computer, sewed it onto this layer. Okay, and then, you know, sewed it onto this heart piece of paper before I glued it on. Oh, and let me go back here. You can't really see it, but right under here, I've got some Martha Stewart, nope, take that back, K & Company die cuts, but they're kind of covered up. This is like an orange color here, and then there's one under here just to add texture, but there's a die cut underneath that as well. You can kind of see it right in here. Okay, so back to this. And then, so let's go to this right side. I added an eye hook there, and I grunged it up. I stuck it in the center of the heart, and then I added black chain that hangs all the way down. And from that, I've got a Tim Holtz swivel clasp, and then I got some of his numbers, a 3 and a 1, so it would say 31 for, like, you know, October 31st. Or if some of you are feeling a little unlucky, it could say 13. Whatever. And then I've got a little black bead that I made that I stuck at the bottom of it and kind of grunged it up a little bit. Just kind of made it a little duller with some rub and buff. So that just kind of hangs down the center. Let me show you like that. Okay, and I did that long hanging because I kind of like moving parts, but I did it so that it would also complement the long hanging chain on this side. So it would kind of mirror image it a little bit. Now on this side, it's going to be hard to see, but I again have here some of Beverly's beautiful laces coming down the side. And what I did is I bunched it all the way down the side. Okay. And then amidst that, as you can see, I've got a foot sticking out here. I love sticking out the feet, you know, and the hands. I've got a hand sticking out here from the skeleton. I've got more creepy cloth kind of in and about. I've got more of the flowers. This flower was given to me, I believe it was from Stephanie, Vintage Paper Girl. She gave me that flower. Oh, and this flower over here. Okay, and then right here I've got, this is a Martha Stewart key. It was a keys of Halloween keys. I decided to go with this one. I was going to use like the little spider web one, but I decided to go with this one. So I've got that little key placed in here. Now over here is a picture of the lovely young Mr. Skeleton and his bride. And I fussy cut this out of that Tim Holtz paper. So see, this is what they look like when they were young. And this is what they look like now. Poor Mr. Skeleton and his bride. Okay, so amidst that, more flowers. Another light bulb. Flowers here. This is another one of those clay flowers. Now this, you can see, is a flower. This is actually scalloped trim from Beverly's shop. I think it's a Maya Road trim. I heard someone say, forgive me if I'm wrong, but it's like a really deep scalloped trim. And so what I did is I just rolled it up into a flower. I sprayed it with Lindy's Stamp Gang, and then I heat set it. And as I heat set it, it kind of curled up because it was wet. So that's all I did. So that's something else, gives you an idea of what you can do with the scallop trim. See how it made a cool flower? And then I rub and buff on the top part of it. So I thought that was really cool. Just a fun, creative way to use trims. Okay. So anyway, check that out, you guys. So again, if you are reading this and looking at all the pretties, then you are blissfully unaware of what is creeping up behind you. Ah! Happy Halloween! Thanks, guys. Thanks for sharing your time with me. I hope you dig my first ever Halloween craft. Like I said, the links are all down below. Go take a look. There'll be pictures on Beverly's blog. Go shopping for some of these fantastic laces and trims and make your own creations. And there's also be the link to my blog if you want to see some more pictures and become a follower. You guys, thanks for sharing your time with me, and I'll talk with you again soon. Bye.